Yo, what's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Power Sports Network. I'm your host, Jackson Powers, and the Indianapolis Colts are above 500 for the first time in the 2024 season. Now, yesterday we played against the Dolphins, and we defeated the Dolphins 16-10 in a game that I actually attended. I was in attendance. I didn't vlog or nothing, though. I just kind of wanted to enjoy the day and just have fun at the game, because I feel like every time I go to an NFL game, I feel the need to film and vlog. So I kind of just wanted to experience it just as a fan. And I had a great time, even though it was an ugly game. I had a lot of fun watching it, and it was fun to see them win. It's always good to see your team win. So yeah, let's just get right into it. My first takeaway, obviously Anthony Richardson. I have his jersey on. He returned to playing yesterday, and I'm not going to lie, it was a little rocky. Definitely in the first half, he struggled a lot. I mean, he started off, I think it was 5 of 18 or something like that. And it was bad, but then his final 6 throws, he completed 5 of them. He was 5 for 6 to finish the game for 65 yards. Didn't turn the ball over. He finished 10 of 24, had 129 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. So, there was like I said, it wasn't perfect. It definitely wasn't perfect, especially in the first half. It was really rough in the first half. But in the second half, he really got it together, I felt like, and he was running the ball very well. He had 56 yards rushing, and he just looked pretty good. Like, being there in person told me a lot. He played very well in the second half, and very well for what we expect out of Richardson anyway. At least what I expect out of him, because I don't expect him to be Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning right now. I fully expect him to have games like this where he struggles, but he gets better. That's all I'm looking for, because it just really blows my mind. Some of these Colts fans out here, I'm going to be honest, some of y'all are very impatient. Like, calling for Flacco to go in the game. Like, don't get me wrong, I say it during the game too, but I'm joking. I don't actually mean that. There's some people dead serious. They want to put Flacco in, saying that Richardson is just the worst quarterback they've ever seen. Just really stupid stuff. Like, you sound incredibly ignorant when you say stuff like that, by the way, if you're one of those people that says that. But just listen, I understand y'all want to win, but the team in the current state it's in, even after a win like that, we might be the worst 4-3 team in the league. And I'm just going to be completely honest. Our defense has not been that great this year. And even if we put Flacco in and were to make a run to the playoffs, we would not make it very far, because of just how inconsistent the defense is. So we just need to let Richardson develop, and because the thing is, he's not going to get better sitting on the bench. He has to go out there and play. And like I said, he looked so much better in the second half. He learned from his mistakes, and he got better as the game went on. That's what you're supposed to do as a quarterback. Like, you got to be patient with this guy. He's 22 years old. I'm also 22 years old. So clearly, neither of us have our lives figured out yet. Obviously, what he does, he's a millionaire already, and I'm a shitty YouTuber who also works a full-time job. See, very different lives. I don't know why I had to bring that up, but the point is, he's still a kid, just like I'm still a kid. And, you don't expect me to have my life figured out at the age of 22. Don't expect him to be a perfect NFL player at the age of 22. It's that simple. He is the youngest starting quarterback in the NFL, and he's in his second year. Keep that in mind. He's younger than the rookie starters. Like, I went on about this in my Packers video when we played the Packers, that we need to be patient with Richardson. That still stands. I understand a lot of Colts fans are spoiled. I'm kind of spoiled too. I'm not as spoiled as some of the Colts fans because I started watching during the Andrew Luck days. I think Andrew Luck's second season is really when I started paying attention to the Colts and football and fell in love with football and all that. It was the same year we had the comeback against the Chiefs in the playoffs. So that Andrew Luck is why I watch football. So maybe I just know how to be patient because I didn't get a whole lot of glory years before we started sucking and just being inconsistent, but that's neither here nor there. We got to be patient. This, you got to keep in mind, Anthony Richardson, he has less than 30 starts under his belt. I don't know the exact number, but it's less than 30. That's high school, college, and the NFL combined. He has had less than 30. He has not played a lot of football. You got to let him grow. You got to let him learn. And like I said earlier already, he got better as the game went on. So as long as he stays healthy, let him play. Even if the team suffers, you got to let him play. You got to let him develop because he's not going to get better if he's sitting on the bench. That's just not going to happen. And Joe Flacco, he's not the franchise guy. Joe Flacco, he's 40 years old. He's in his 17th year. There's a good chance he doesn't play past this year. There's a good chance he retires after this season. So you don't know. Like, you got to give Richardson, you got to let him play. You got to let him get better. It's that simple. And being there in person yesterday, it showed me everything I needed to see because, you know, his stats were not spectacular. But I thought he played resiliently and he stuck it out and found his rhythm late in the game and was dealing in the fourth quarter and helped us win. Like, that's just one thing. Second thing is during the commercial breaks, or like before they'd go on the field, he would be throwing with his receivers. The Dolphins quarterbacks weren't doing that, but Richardson would be out there throwing with Mitchell, throwing with Alec Pierce while waiting for the TV timeout to be over. So Richardson wants to get better. We got to let him play, and he's got to stay healthy. And give it 2-3 seasons, I promise you, if you let him develop and play 2 to 3 seasons playing like this, he will be special. And you can mark my words on that. So that's enough about Anthony Richardson. Rant over about that. I do want to talk about the rest of our offense. Tyler Goodson, he had himself a nice game. He had 14 carries, 51 yards, had his first career touchdown, our only touchdown of the game. He ran very well. Trey Sermon actually had a decent game too. He ran very hard. Michael Pittman, he had 63 yards on 3 catches. And yeah, our offense wasn't pretty, but it was still more entertaining than Joe Flacco's offense. It's another thing. I can't believe some of you can defend Joe Flacco. He's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but it's rough when he's in there too. So don't act like it's much better with him in there than with when Richardson's struggling. But hey, double standard aside, a lot of double standards in the fan base, by the way. Double standards aside, offensive side, I want to talk about the defense now. The defense probably played their best game of the season. Now, was that because they had Tyler Huntley starting and then he got hurt and Tim Boyle came in the game? Probably. But hey, I'll take wins when I can get them. The defense, it was decent. Even they allowed 10 points, but they didn't allow any points in the second half. Played pretty good, brought pressure when they needed to. Still not defending Gus Bradley. Still need to fire that motherfucker, but hey, we have another week of that because we won. But the defense, they probably, like I said, probably their best game of the year, but it was because Tua wasn't playing for the Dolphins. But hey, I'm just saying, we shut down Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Odell Beckham Jr. So, Tyreek Hill, he only had 1 catch. I don't think Jalen Waddle had any catches. I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. had any catches either. So, it was pretty good. And then Zaire Franklin, he had a great game. He had 15 tackles and a forced fumble. And then my guy, Grant Stewart, or as I like to call him, Stewart Palomalu, he had 18 tackles. He didn't even start at linebacker because EJ Speed was out. So I don't remember who started. I think it was Charles was his last name. 57, I'm pretty sure was his number. He got hurt. Stewart came in, had 18 tackles. Stewart Palomalu, Colts preseason legend, Grant Stewart. He had a touchdown last year against the Titans on a blocked punt. Love that guy. Stewart Palomalu. Best Colts defensive player of all time. Not really. And last thing I want to talk about, special teams. I owe Matt Gay an apology for this week. Matt Gay was 3 for 3 on field goals. He had a 51-yarder at the end of the first half, made it 10-3. Then he had 2 in the second half, both in the fourth quarter, that gave us the 6-point lead and ultimately helped us win. And yeah, that's really all I got. We did win this week, so there will be a game MVP. If you guys are confused about it, by the way, I only do game MVPs when we win. So we did win. So this week, the game MVP is Zaire Franklin, just because he had the forced fumble along with his 15 tackles. But honorable mention to Grant Stewart, a.k.a. Stewart Palomalu, for his incredible game. And yeah, Colts are 4-3. The Texans did lose yesterday too, so I say that because we play the Texans next week. They're 5-2, we're 4-3. So if we can win that game, we will be tied for first in the AFC South, which would be huge. Big game next week. We're probably going to lose, to be honest with you, because the Texans, they're a pretty good team. But CJ Stroud, he had 86 yards passing yesterday, and Anthony Richardson had 129, so Richardson is the GOAT. I'm just kidding. But hey, that's going to be a pretty big game. It's in Houston. We usually play pretty well when we play there, so hopefully we can get a win and get tied to first place in the AFC South, which would just be insane after how this season's gone so far. If we can be tied for first in the South, that would be crazy. But yeah, honestly kind of feels like a must-win game just because we got a tough stretch after this with Houston. Obviously Houston, we play Minnesota, then Buffalo after that. And then we got the Jets and then the Lions all in a row. So definitely going to be a tough stretch. Starts next week with Houston. Very big game for the AFC South. And hoping we can get a win. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this episode on the Power Sports Network. If you guys enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, follow everything in the description box. That's not the most important thing. That sucks. Most important thing is turn on the bell notification so you don't miss an episode on the Power Sports Network. And then second to that is follow everything in the description box. Actually, that's like the last thing you should do. You should subscribe first, then like the video, and then turn on the bell notification. Like the video, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, follow everything in the description box. Yeah, I'm keeping all this in because I think this is pretty funny. So, yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.